So Scarlett Johansson and Disney are apparently no longer getting along to the tune of several $1,000,000. What does that have to do with us, the fans? Stick around, let's talk about it. Actress Scarlett Johansson, known in the past decade for her role as Black Widow, is not happy with Disney, and it sounds like Disney's not too happy with her right now either. The actress is claiming that she's lost money over the release of Black Widow on the Disney Plus platform, rather than just exclusively to theaters as she said she was promised. So when this news first hit, I just looked at it probably like many of you did. Millionaires suing millionaires, that's got nothing to do with me. Somebody's going to make a whole lot of money and it won't be me. That's how I look. As more information came out and as the story developed more and more, I've been concerned with not so much who's going to win the case or how it's going to unfold, but really how everything that happens is going to affect me and you, presumably so, the fans of the MCU movies and really comic book films in general. So before we unpack this, I'm going to give you a couple little asterisks just to bear in mind while we're discussing this. First and foremost, no, I have not seen the film yet. I personally am not ready to go back to the movie theaters. If you are, that's great. We're not here to discuss the back and forth with this. I was looking forward to getting on Disney Plus, and then I figured, you know what? I've waited over a year at this point. I could wait a couple more months. Second, this is a news story that has been changing almost by the minute. There are a bevy of articles you can find online, some of them speculative, some of them factual. In terms of the articles I've consulted for this video, I've gone ahead and put a link to each of the articles I read in the description. I also put a link to some information I found regarding who the actors and actresses I'm going to mention in this video are represented by. I didn't realize that this information is very hush-hush or attorney-client privilege, so to speak. So a lot of this information, as far as who represents who, may or may not be correct, but I've mentioned where they are, and I ask that if you're watching this video, again, take that with a grain of salt. So just to review the situation at hand, the Black Widow film opened both in theaters and on Disney Plus a little over a week ago at this point. Opening night, it did pretty good numbers from what I remember reading. I think I remember reading an article saying it beat the opening numbers for films during the pandemic, including Godzilla vs. King Kong, Mortal Kombat, and even the most recent Fast and the Furious film. But overnight, numbers started to plummet, both in theaters and on Disney Plus, and it became clear Black Widow was not going to be the financial blockbuster everybody was expecting. As I stated earlier, when the news broke that Scarlett Johansson was not happy with the Disney Plus simultaneous hybrid release, whatever you want to call it, I kind of wrote it off as, well, that's none of my business. Millionaires suing millionaires. It's not going to put any money in my pocket, nor is it going to change how I enjoy the film. What really kind of caught my attention, though, and it really was a shocker to me, was Disney's response to her lawsuit, which I really found to be abhorrent, to put it lightly. There is no merit whatsoever to this filing. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Disney has fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. When the Disney statement came out, that's when I really started to sit up and take attention, and not in a good way. I really was surprised, not that Disney was, of course, trying to defend themselves, but they were doing so in such an aggressive and just rude and mean-spirited manner, in my opinion. I mean, look, Scarlett Johansson, I think she's a good actress. She's been in some of my favorite films. I don't agree with all the stances that she's taken, certainly on her support of Woody Allen. I don't know if she's walked that back yet or not. But, I could divorce my opinions and political thoughts from how an actor or actress performs in a lot of cases. Not 100% of cases, I'm not going to lie to you, but in a lot of cases. That being said, I really think Disney crossed the line when they kind of portrayed her as some sort of uncaring and uninformed person that, the COVID-19 pandemic is around. And to the extent where they released her salary. And my thought is maybe they did this thinking, oh, people are going to say, well, she's already got 20 million. What does she care? Then when her statement came back from her team, which I have to say I think was really well crafted and really the best response you can do, she pointed out, yeah, she was supposed to get another 50 million at least plus bonuses. Now, I don't know about you, but if my employer said, hey, I know that we said we were gonna pay you this much, but we're gonna pay you less than half, I'd be pretty pissed as well. And it's not like Disney is a non-for-profit business. No, it's not that they're saying, well, that extra money, we took it and we gave it to help cure the pandemic, or we gave it to homeless people, or maybe some of the people that we've laid off in the past year and a half or so. No, they're a company. They kept that money. Some articles pointed out that Warner Brothers went and renegotiated their contract with Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins in anticipation of the Wonder Woman 84 digital release on HBO Max on Christmas Day. And even some have pointed out similar negotiations in terms of the Snyder Cut. I kind of feel like this is not necessarily an apples-to-apples comparison. From what I remember reading, and I could be wrong, I thought that both Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot got extra, I think it was an extra $10 million bonus just for kind of saying, hey, can you back up HBO Max on this? Can you just say, hey, you're really looking forward to seeing it digitally? And from the Snyder Cut, I thought it had to be renegotiated because there were additional films that were, additional scenes that were filmed. Again, I could be wrong on those. But until that information is all public, I don't consider that to be an apples-to-apples comparison. Scarlett Johansson's representation at CAA even came out and really did a good job, I feel, speaking against this and really saying, look, you didn't really paint our client in a fair light. Now, CAA, from what I understand, and I'm no Hollywood guy, of course, I'm in my basement here in Jersey, is one of the bigger talent agencies. And in fact, on their website, they talk about not only whom they've represented domestically, but also how they have these inroads into the European and Chinese markets that every major film industry really wants to crack into. It's not just about the U.S. box office, it's about the global box office. And this is where I feel Disney and the fans should be concerned. So how does this affect us, the fans? Or how could it potentially affect us? First and foremost, I'm not a legal expert, I'm not a lawyer. I will say this, I think that this case is going to get sorted out of court. However, the implications of what this means for future Disney and Marvel films, I think, could be pretty significant. Now, I'll say this. From what I've read, Scarlett Johansson's people have been trying to renegotiate the contract since Disney announced, hey, we're going to also release it online on the same day. I don't know what she's been requesting. Maybe it is something astronomical and unreasonable. And I do also bear in mind that Disney, yes, has a lot of other projects that have already been filmed or deals that have been inked or whatnot. Disney's got plans. But what I do know, whether you're in the entertainment industry or insurance or, I don't know, whether you work at Home Depot, how you treat your people is going to affect the outcome of your product. Now, yeah, I don't think anything in the immediate future is going to be affected, but once these other contracts expire, if you're known for being difficult to work with or unfair to work with, how are you going to get that top talent to keep the MCU going for another 10 years or another 10 years after that, so on and so forth? And at what point will this start affecting your other projects? Whatever the outcome will be, I'm sure at the end of the day, Disney's going to be quite fine, and Scarlett Johansson will be fine. And I know that a lot of Hollywood is watching to see what happens here, because this really could be a game changer as far as streaming goes, at least for both movie theaters and for Hollywood in general. While researching news articles for this video, I found one article that stated other actresses and actors, naming Emma Stone, who most recently was in the film Cruella, also released by Disney, both in theaters and on Disney Plus on the same day, and Emily Blunt, whose film Jungle Cruise just opened this weekend, both in theaters and Disney Plus streaming with that premiere access, are also considering similar legal action. Most likely they're waiting to see how this kind of shakes out, and of course I don't blame them. I just hope that whatever the outcome may be, it doesn't adversely affect the films that we've all come so much to love and appreciate. Thank you again for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this little discussion. Please go ahead and give me a like if you did. Comments. Certainly want to know, how do you feel about this project? Does this change your outcome of Disney films or Marvel films going forward? How do you feel about all the stances being presented here? I want to know. And of course, share this content and subscribe if you haven't already. Come on, get with the program already. Thank you again for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope that you certainly enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, love, and comics. Take care.